This is the Thayer Podcast for Monday, November 20th, 2023. The November 7th elections produced one thing that many seem to have forgotten: common sense. The biggest issue for America's Democrats this time around was the one they've been pounding away at for decades: abortion. Back in the day, say 30 years ago, the liberal issue of the day was always the right to life. Somehow that changed. Maybe it was the Supreme Court's negation of the half-century-old Roe v. Wade case, the one that essentially made abortion a constitutional right. On January 22, 1973, the Supreme Court issued a landmark 7-2 decision protecting a woman's constitutional right to choose. But on June 6 this year, the High Court ruled that it was never a right, but rather an individual choice belonging to each state's citizens, decided at the state level through the electoral or legislative process, if needed at all. Since then, highly motivated anti-Supreme Court liberals nationwide have taken up the banner demanding that all women everywhere have the old conservative right to choose. Since then, the grand old party has taken up that long-standing liberal stance: the unborn's inalienable right to life under all circumstances. That's where common sense comes into play. I think that's the real question before all right-thinking citizens of the United States. What became of common sense? Isn't it common sense that a mother is the one responsible for her children before their birth? Doesn't it make sense that if there are any limitations at all to that assertion, they should come only from legislation created by the people, not the courts? Doesn't it make sense that the mother should have a say in her future as well as that of her unborn child? And shouldn't that be within some kind of reason that her cohort agrees is the right thing? Shouldn't common sense rule? All right then. How about common sense when it comes to government's role in the American economy? We're talking the cost of food, clothing, fuel, energy, housing, and transportation. Doesn't it make any sense at all that the government controls the cost of goods and services by controlling the cost of money? Isn't inflation caused by shortages? Doesn't the cost of production dictate the cost of goods on the market? Don't high interest rates create both shortages of all kinds as well as inflation? Doesn't eliminating competition with the rest of the world for our abundant resources create inflation? Like higher fuel prices, higher costs of the food we import, and higher costs to produce American goods and services. What happened to the common sense that said individual rights are vastly more important than those created by a mob? Whatever happened to the idea that crimes against property created abundant reasons for arrest and subsequent trial by court or jury? By the way, where did the idea that bond should not be required for anything less than capital crimes like rape and murder? Doesn't the abortion question fit right in with all this? Every problem we have today has been caused by one thing. No, not greed or lust for power or money. One thing: lack of free choice. Some of us call it common sense. Improvise, adapt, overcome. Simplify.